What is up, beautiful people? In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I created this lace front wig on my sewing machine, and we're hopping right into this video. All right, so I'm going to start by showing you guys two different types of wig blocks. This is a 21-inch circumference for a small head. I'm going to compare that wig block to my 23-inch circumference. You can clearly see the difference. Today I'm going to be using the 23-inch circumference, and I'm going to start by pinning down the back of the nape area to like mimic our natural neck area. And then I'm going to go ahead and place my frontal on top of the wig where I want it to be. You guys already know that you should be bringing your frontal down a little lower than where the actual cap is. And when you're pinning the back, you do not want to pull it forward, nor do you want to pull it backwards. You just want to lay it kind of naturally where it wants to fall. And then you're going to pin that in place. All right. The type of pins that I'm using are just ballpoint pins. You guys can get from any store that offers like sewing materials. I prefer this over the T-pins now. Then I'm going to go ahead and draw out where my frontal will be placed because I will be removing this frontal and then sewing it down after I'm finished sewing down everything else. So I'm going to just, take it off, and then we're going to place this to the side. Everything that I'm using will be in the description box, you guys. So this is the mark that I made for the frontal, and now I'm going to go ahead and do my placements for the tracks. This is the marker that I'm using. Excuse me. This is the marker that I'm using. You guys can get this. It's a metallic marker. You can get it anywhere that offers like office supplies. This is where I'm making my first mark straight across. You guys, you do not have to worry about stitching through the elastic band when you are sewing on your sewing machine, because you want to put these tracks pretty far apart, not pretty far, but like as you can see about an inch apart, and make sure that the bottom half is curved. Okay, so my first few markings are going to go straight across, as you guys can see. It's extremely important to make sure you guys aren't putting your tracks too close together. This is going to make sure that the wig can actually stretch and fit on your head or your client's head. Okay, so once I get towards the top, I'm not going to take them all the way around anymore. I'm going to take them straight across. Okay, so this is not like when you are sewing a wig for a hand sew. That mark was a little crooked, but it's cool. It's cool. It's okay. So yeah, the last 4 or 5 tracks are going to go straight across, as you guys can see. So that one's a little crooked. That'd be okay too. It ain't no big deal. This is how it should look. This is exactly how you want. Again, this is where the frontal is going to go. That part of the cap is going to get cut off, as you guys already know. All right, so now on to the fun part. I'm going to start by unraveling my bundle. You guys, the sewing machine that I'm using will be in the description box, along with my email if you guys would like to send in here to get a wig made. And then I'm going to double my wefts. Okay, so I like to cut off the end of the wefts to make sure that this lays extremely flat on my wig and there isn't like any bulkiness. Okay, and then I'm going to start by, like I said, I'm doubling each bundle. Okay, so just like you would like hand sew, I'm just doubling that. That's what I'm doing now. Right, you guys want to make sure that you are back stitching the end of the weft. I am using a zigzag stitch, and I'm going to do this to every single bundle. I didn't really show you guys how to like thread your machine or work the machine, but I will leave a video in the description box down below that helped me out when I first started. Okay, so I didn't really want to make this video really long, but yeah, this is how the track should look. And now we're going to go ahead and start sewing onto the wig cap. All right, so we're starting at the first mark down below in the back, and I'm going to go ahead and sew down this first weft. I would recommend not starting your stitch at the very end of the weft, but kind of in the middle, because that way your machine won't really get snagged on it because of the less tension. It's not a lot of tension on the end. Okay, if that makes sense. So you guys want to make sure that it's super duper important that you make sure that you are you're following the curve of your mark. All right, so after I'm finished with that, I'm going to just go ahead and cut this off. And this is how the first stitch look. As you guys can see, it's curved along with my mark where I made my marker. That's very important. That's going to make sure that the cap is stretchable and it isn't too tight and things like that. You do not want that. You want this wig to fit and you want it to be perfect. All right. So I'm going to pretty much just be showing you guys exactly how I'm sewing this down. Like I said, I'm using a zigzag stitch. I am not pulling the cap. I am not stretching it. I'm just letting the sewing machine do its thing. I'm stretching it just a tad, but I'm not pulling it really tight. You want to stretch it to make sure that none of the cap gets caught underneath, and then you don't want that. All right. So I will be cutting these tracks as I go. I do not fold them over like I do when I am making a wig by hand. This way I'm ensured that the wefts are extremely flat, the wig is extremely flat, and everything is perfect, seamless. And yes, I haven't even tried to do the fold over method and I don't plan on it. This works great for me. My one-on-one classes will be resuming very soon for those of you who need just a little more help, a little more assistance. I would definitely let you guys know when that's available. Before you guys ask, this hair was sent in oh my goodness, this hair was sent in by my clients. I'm not going to leave the details because I really don't recommend this hair. It was a lot of fillers. This is how the wig is looking so far. Very neat, very seamless, perfection if I must say so myself. You know, the stitch is pretty much perfect. This is what you guys want, but you are going to have to practice this, you guys. This took me so long to learn. I've taught myself this technique, this method, because I got tired of taking hours to make a wig by hand. Making a wig on a sewing machine will take you anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, but of course the more you do it, then you're going to cut down on your time. All right, and then also plays a part in hair and stuff like that. So right here, you guys, I want to show you this really quick. As you know that this is my mark for my frontal, right? You do not want to bring those tracks all the way to that mark. You want to leave about ½ inch of space. And I'm going to explain to this later when I show you guys when I stitch down the frontal. It all makes sense. But now we're finished bringing the tracks all around. I'm going to go ahead and start sewing them straight across. As I add more and more hair, you guys, it's going to kind of get difficult to show you exactly what I'm doing. And as well, when you start sewing, it's going to get a lot more difficult the more hair you, oh my gosh, I cannot talk. Yeah, so right now I'm just sewing down my tag. This is like, you know, my branding, you know what I'm saying? Stamp of approval right there. Okay. Oh my god, yeah, this tripod was giving me the blues. Oh my goodness. I'm going to place the wig. Of course it's not finished. I'm going to place it on top of the wig block, and now we are going to go ahead and place our frontal down, right? So remember, we still have this mark. This is the mark for where your frontal is going to lay. You guys, I want to tell you a little bit about the benefits of doubling your wefts. So like a lot of my clients like 4 or 5 bundles. So this is going to, when you double your wefts, is going to allow you to fit all your hair, especially with a frontal unit. It can be very difficult, and that, so you guys can see right here, that's why you don't bring the tracks all the way over, because you don't know, you want to make sure that your frontal has enough room. All right, so before I actually stitch down the frontal on the sewing machine, I'm going to sew it by hand. This is going to make your life a lot easier, you guys, I promise, because it's going to keep the frontal in place. I've tried just going ahead and trying to sew the frontal down without doing this, and sis, no, don't do it. This will be a pain in your butt to take the wig off and then sew this down, but it's worth it, trust me. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut off the excess cap before I stitch down the frontal. And now I'm going to go ahead and actually sew it down. It's super important, you guys, like when you're sewing down the frontal, that you make sure that you're actually stretching it out and pulling it out so that there's no like bumps in it. Like when you go to party, there's no humps or lumps, or you know, just make sure that it's super flat. Pretty much, that's what we want. Flatness. Okay. So this is how the frontal is looking. I have one more track to place right next to the frontal. I'm not going to stitch it directly on top or anything like that because you want it to be flat, of course. Flatness. So I'm just going to stitch that right up against it. And again, this track is going to go right on top of the other track. I'm not taking this from one side of the frontal to the next, okay? This is how the inside of the wig is looking so far. We are finished. Looking good, looking neat, looking seamless. Yes. All right, you guys, so now it is time to style this bad boy. As you guys know, I'm using my all-time favorite Biosilk, of course. Love it. And I'm just going to place that all over the hair. I'm going to be doing like a wavy look on this hair, so I'm going to be taking this huge wand. I'm not exactly sure the size of this wand, but it's really big. So it may be a 1.5 inch, maybe even 2, because it's super big, like super big. And I'm just going to go ahead, you guys will see me like clipping the curls just to cool the curls off to make sure that they last. So yeah, this is pretty, you know, self-explanatory. Just winding my hair, well, winding her hair, winding her wig. And then yeah, this is it. That is all. Once I'm all finished with that, this is how she came out. Super cute. But we're gonna go ahead and well, before I brush it out, I guess I'm fixing the part here. Then I'm going to spread it with some holding spray. I'm using the Sebastian, of course. Then I go ahead and comb these bad boys out because, like I said, I want like a more wavy look than like a really curly look. You get what I'm saying? Then I'm going to go in with my my carrot hair wax stick to pretty much get rid of these flyaways and brush that on out. Now, normally I would use my hot comb to like really lay the wig flat, but I just went ahead and used the curling iron because it was super hot. And yeah, it works just as good. So yeah, this is pretty much the end of this video, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you learned something. Don't forget to subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next one.